Have you ever noticed how the most absurd things in life are the ones we never question? That's the trick. If you're born into a system and everyone around you treats it as normal, you accept it too. You don't stop to ask, wait a second, why does this exist at all? The first time I shared this thought out loud with a friend, this idea that humans are the only species that pays to exist, they laughed. They shook their heads, smiled, and said, "Come on, man, that's just how the world works." And in that moment, something in me snapped awake. Because isn't that one of the most lazy sentences in the human language? That's just how it works. How many lies have survived through history because people repeated that line like there's nothing we can do. Slavery used to be just how the world worked. Children working in coal mines, wars fought over salt, people dying from curable diseases. All of that was just how the world worked until it wasn't. Until someone, somewhere, finally broke the silence and said, this doesn't make sense. This isn't natural. This isn't right. So when my friend brushed me off with that one sentence, I realized something. The reason we pay to exist is not because it's logical or natural or inevitable. It's because no one questions it loudly enough. Let me give you a picture. Imagine a child born into this system. From the moment they're old enough to understand, they're told, you must go to school so you can get a good job. You need a job so you can pay for food, water, shelter. Not because those things are rare, food grows, water flows, land exists, but because we wrap them in invisible chains and called those chains ownership, property, commerce. The child grows, works hard, takes on debt for education, debt for a home, debt for a car, and then spends the best decades of their life chasing papers and numbers on screens. If they stop running, if they say, I don't want to play, the world doesn't pat them on the back and say, rest, you're free. No, the world punishes them. Lose your job, lose your home, miss your payments, lose your food, lose your security. It doesn't matter how kind, how creative, how human you are. If you can't play the money game, the system throws you out. And we call this normal. That word again. We call it normal because it's familiar, not because it's sane. Let me flip it for you. Imagine, just only imagining that you're explaining this to an alien who lands on Earth. The alien asks, so tell me how your species survives. And we say, well, we invented a token called money. You can't eat it, drink it, or breathe it, but without it, you die. The alien tilts its head. Wait, you starve in a world of food because you don't have these tokens. And we nod. And you sleep in the streets while buildings sit empty because you didn't pay the token keeper? We nod again. The alien would laugh or cry, maybe both, because it's madness dressed up in suits and ties. But here's the scarier part. Most of us don't even see the bars of the cage anymore. When you're born in captivity, freedom looks strange. When every adult around you says, work hard, pay your bills, that's life, you don't even think to ask if there's another way. And that's how the lie survives. Not because it's strong, but because we've stopped noticing it. We've mistaken conditioning for truth. Now, pause for a moment. I want you to think about the stress that hums quietly in your body every day, the bills on your counter, the rent due at the end of the month, the car payments, the insurance, that low-level anxiety that never really disappears. Do you feel it? That's not life. That's the leash. That's how the system ensures you keep running. Because if survival itself depends on money, you will never stop chasing it. And here's the kicker. That leash doesn't just control your body. It controls your imagination. Because how can you dream about art, about discovery, about love, about wonder, when half your mind is occupied with how will I pay next month's rent? This is why the richest human experiences, joy, connection, meaning, feel so rare. Not because they are scarce, but because our attention is hijacked. Because the system keeps us running on treadmills, exhausted, too tired to remember, there is more to being alive than paying invoices. So let me ask again, if the only reason you believe something is because everyone else does, is that really belief or programming? I'll tell you something I've learned. The cage doesn't need locks if the birds believe the sky is dangerous. And right now, humanity has been taught to believe that questioning money, rent, and ownership is dangerous, impractical, naive. But maybe the most dangerous thing is never asking at all. So as I sat there thinking about my friend's laughter, I realized he wasn't laughing at me. He was laughing because the truth unsettled him. Because once you glimpse the bars of the cage, you can never unsee them. And once you ask the forbidden question, your life changes. slowly at first, then all at once. You stop seeing the world as a fixed machine and start seeing it as a story written by people no different than you. And if it's just a story, it can be rewritten. That thought haunted me. It still does. Because if this whole system is nothing but a shared myth, then the real question is not, why do we pay to live? The real question is, who benefits when you believe you must? And that's where we're heading next. Because in part 3, we're going to look at the invention at the heart of this lie, money itself, and how we turn paper and numbers into a god that rules our lives. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because every week we imagine new possibilities.